Very happy to be joined by the Senior Minister Aaditya Thackeray now. Thank you very much, Aditya, for being with us. 43 cities in Maharashtra are part of this UN campaign to go carbon neutral by 2040. Now that's very ambitious because a lot of your power, right, the majority of your power isn't from renewable sources. So how is that going to be replaced?
I think unless and until we are ambitious about our climate goals, we're not going to move anywhere. Because even today, we're looking at things as they are, and we're looking at a climate disaster all around us, be it in any state, be it any city, any urban or rural area around the world. So that is one of the things. Of course, for Maharashtra, what is key, and especially in these 43 cities, is decarbonizing an energy sector and decarbonizing our transport sector. If we work on that, we're moving anyway towards net zero. And with the announcement that the Honorable Prime Minister has made today, with 50% of our energy needs being met by renewable energy by 2030, I think we would be anyway on our way rapidly towards net zero by 2040. So I don't think the jump from 2030 of 50% to 100% would take more than 5 years in that sense.
Aditya, a lot of people, including people certainly in Maharashtra, would want to know why you're doing it, why this transition needs to be made. And the point that your government has been stating is that in the last 50 years, for example, Maharashtra has recorded a 6-fold increase in the frequency of extreme floods. How is all of what we are talking about linked to something which is not going to escape us? We need to fix it.
I think till now, climate change was a talk about the future. And I was seeing this one presentation, beautiful presentation by a thought design thinker actually, where he said, let's not call ourselves environmentalists, let's call ourselves futurists. And it was about the future generation. It was about the generation that we would be, giving this whole planet to. But I think now it's time to say that this is about today. This is about us. Let's try to be selfish and save us. Because we've seen in COVID times, when things get bad, they can really get really bad. So you must have seen with the masks, with the vaccination, with the lockdowns, it was about saving ourselves. We did not need an incentive for survival. Right. Today, if you see what's happened to Maharashtra in the past 2 or 3 years, and especially in the last 1 decade, places where we had droughts for 5 or 6 years, we're facing cloudbursts and floods. Places like Uttarakhand or Kerala or many other states, the amount of compensation that we've had to hand out due to climate change events has been tremendous. If we're anyway spending so much on compensation and facing destruction, why not spend a little more or work a little more on resilience, adaptation, mitigation? I think these are things that we need to focus on, and every aspect of life today is dominated by climate change.
Now, Aditya, a key part of what you're doing is the EV100 global campaign. It's not going to be that easy to encourage people to get into electric vehicles. There is a mindset issue as well. A lot of people would like their diesel motors or their petrol motors and all the horsepower that generates. I don't know if you're a car buff yourself, but even if you are, I see that by 2022, all government cars in Maharashtra will be electric, number one. Number two, 10% of new vehicle registrations have to be for electric vehicles by 2025. 10%, that's a huge number considering the number of cars, for example, that Mumbai adds every single day.
That is true. And like I said, decarbonizing the energy sector and decarbonizing the transport sector. Even within the transport sector, we're focusing on the public transport largely. So if you see today's BST, we've already placed orders for 2,100 electric buses that we added to our fleet by 2023. By 2027, we aim to get 100% electric with the BST buses. The same with other cities, be it Nagpur, Thane, Nasik, Navi Mumbai, Aurangabad, all these places, which have essentially public transport. We aim to have our bus fleets completely electric. Likewise, we are going towards the organized sector, be it hotels, be it corporates, be it media houses, be it governments. We're saying any vehicle we would want to buy or rent from April 2022 would be electric. Now, just 2 months ago, we brought this electric policy into play, which is probably one of the most dynamic ones, because every month we sit with all the stakeholders across the board, 4-wheelers, buses, 3-wheelers, 2-wheelers, supply chains, ancillary industries, and try to review our policy in terms of what better we can do. And already in Mumbai and Pune, you are seeing a large amount of cars with green number plates joining the fleets on the road. So I think going towards the organized sector is one. Of course, with the ICE engines and a lot of these vehicle manufacturers announcing already that by 2025, 2030, they're going to stop production of ICE engines, we're looking at a huge shift. Trust me when I say this, that by 2025, and it's not too far away, you'd see a huge amount of vehicles in India going electric, and of course around the world. Now what we need to do is ensure that we have enabling policies for better charging stations. We have better incentives as of now, but in the long run, like I said, do we really need an incentive for survival?
And I noticed one of the key points as far as implementing your policy on electric vehicles is concerned is that at least 4 highways in the state have already been identified where you can charge your vehicle. So the infrastructure to sustain this has to be created. It's not just getting the vehicles on the road. How is that a big priority for you?
So it is a triangular mechanism that we see it as. It's a triangle. One is, of course, electric mobility, be it in 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers or public transport. Public transport is what we are focusing as a priority area as government. And of course, there is no market failure. So there will be private sector that will be coming up, surging ahead in electric vehicles. 2, again, we have a huge private sector that is looking at charging station facilities. So what we have done in a unified DCR is we've called all our fuel stations as fuel stations, electric charging stations or alternative fuel stations. So you could have hydrogen fuel, you could have biogas, you could have anything. And third, and the most important part of this triangle is really to have these electric stations and these electric vehicles charged by renewable energy. You can't have conventional energy charging electric vehicles.
Aditya, this is all about changing mindsets, and I noticed one of the big plans which you have announced as part of the overall flagship drive towards cleaning up the environment is in educating young children, explaining what climate change is all about. How is this a curriculum and a key part of that in Maharashtra from a fairly young age?
It's simple actually. The story of my own climate journey started off way back when I was in school, and we watched this movie called The Day After Tomorrow. And when we were watching it, of course, it was the day after tomorrow really meant 50 or 100 years later. Probably we would be there, we would be around, not around. When I started watching this closely as a circle and as a cycle in terms of droughts and floods and famines and things that you couldn't really predict, be it hailstorms or unseasonal rainfalls, you started seeing a pattern. And today, in the last 10 years that we have seen in Maharashtra and many other states, this is a pattern. This is called climate change. We've tied up with the UNICEF and the UNEP to actually work on a syllabus that is ready, and we're now in the process of handing it over to a state board from grade 1st to grade 8 is what we're looking at in terms of giving them a real experience and experiential learning with climate change. We're also defining what cities mean to them.
And I must ask you, just as we leave, it's a big day for your party. I'm told you're planning to head to Delhi via Dadra and Nagar Haveli. Is that correct?
Yes, there's climate change there too, and positively so.
So this is a big win for you in Dadra and Nagar Haveli in this Lok Sabha bipole. It's your first step, and correct me if I'm wrong, outside Maharashtra. How important is this for the Shiv Sena? What does it say about your future plans? And you campaigned there, didn't you?
So we've contested earlier in UP, Bihar, Goa, Punjab, West Bengal, many more states, Madhya Pradesh, but this is the first big win for the Sena. And we are really happy with it because now there's an opportunity to show what we can do for the people there, voice the people there, and of course give justice to the family of Mr. Mohan Delkar. So I think that was one of the most important things for us to do, and that is on the agenda. But yes, we're looking at it as a way to expand beyond the borders.
All right, Aaditya Thackeray, thank you very much for joining us. It's always a pleasure speaking to you, and let's hope as many of these plans that you've discussed with us become a reality, because it's something which affects millions of lives in Maharashtra.
It is going to affect all of us, and just as a parting thing, it is going to affect all of us, right from women to people who are looking at aspirations across, be it the hinterlands of India or in the cities. And if climate change disruptions keep happening, it's going to disrupt our economy at the large. So we're going to have to look into it really very seriously.
All right, Aditya, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.